The longest developed MMO scam has finally been exposed. This is about Pantheon, I'm assuming. Narc, I think, has had some sort of vendetta against Pantheon for a while. Which, like, to be fair, I can see why, right? I mean, the game is kind of scuffed, but yeah. Here we go. New Valheim update? No, this would be a downgrade from Valheim.
Hey, what up, boys? So, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen has been a pretty big meme on this channel. Obviously, I've always thought of Pantheon as the peak of modern MMORPGs that exploit their player base by showing a barely functional updates. Concept art, perpetual model redesigns, and environment overhauls without actually showing any real game. You know, that kind of thing. Kinda reminds me of Ashes of Creation, am I right? But recently...
The reason why I didn't like Pantheon is because the combat looked like garbage. It was basically, it had the same speed as turn-based combat, but it wasn't turn-based. Yeah, that's it.
News has gone public about the true state of their game. But before we get into that, our beautiful patrons and coped out the wazoo Twitch subs and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because today is the day Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is being exposed with not only a recent artwork overhaul 10 years into their development, but there's leaks being published by all sorts of articles about a
Yep, I'm officially worried about the future of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen now. It's been a week of ups and downs for the potential MMORPG, depending on your viewpoint. Uh-oh.
monetized spin-off game mode that Visionary Realms are putting a considerable chunk of their effort into. Yes, that's right. Pantheon looks like it's going to be another bait-and-switch MMO scam. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
The fall of Pantheon. Overview.
If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you're probably all too familiar with the mockery that is Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. All throughout 2022, it was a running...
And this is an update from 2022. That was like last year. This is an update from last year, guys.
Joke to mock the game in comparison to its younger brother in development, Ashes of Creation. But this didn't start because I'm a balding middle-aged man bitter about competition. No. Competition is good. This began because many people throughout the social media channels confuse the two games, and Intrepid get some of the flack for Visionary Realms' lack of actual development. And that...
dude, if you think this is Ashes of Creation, you are fucking delusional. Who the fuck think this is Ashes of Creation? It's not nothing like it.
Really grinds my gears. The first topic I want to discuss in relation to this recent exposure is their sudden artwork change that was announced earlier this month. After the team went dark for 3 straight months, people who didn't spend $1,000 to participate in their NDA testing were left a little confused with what the hell had happened to the game, only for Visionary Realms to come out of the darkness with a 5-minute YouTube video telling everyone that they've completely overhauled the art style overnight, and obviously the community were not happy about it. They had spent their money backing a game that was going for a very gritty, realistic EQ-style world.
Yeah, this looks like it's This thing could be in Fortnite or Albion, yeah, like what the fuck? This is totally different.
Some scuffed Fortnite / World of Warcraft crayon-looking world trying to appeal to a wider audience. The whole premise of Pantheon was to build off the fact that it was for a niche audience looking for that niche EverQuest experience.
Yeah.
If you look back at their showcases,
and that's the thing, right? Is like the game was always, in my mind, it was made for EverQuest Andes. It was made for like people that are too old to play WoW. Just straight up, like, yeah, for people that are like 47.
3 years ago, you can see that Pantheon had a really solid art style going for them. It was gritty and worked well for what they were trying to achieve. So then, changing so suddenly, almost 10 years into development, is absolutely not acceptable and ultimately acts as a distraction from the real problem. A problem that has been apparently going on behind the scenes for a while now. You see, back in 2020,
Oh, there's
Pantheon
still
released a blog post about the state of their game that got a lot of people really excited and convinced them to pledge the 1,000 minimum price for alpha testing access. This
Jesus.
included a portion of my community and also Mr. Co Carnage, who invested a sizable amount of funding towards this project. The
Oh,
post
he played EverQuest. He was an EverQuest fan, right? I think he was.
explained that Project Fail, I've probably butchered that name, but it's the footage in the background, was to eventually
Yeah, it
become
still does. Yeah, there it
Pantheon's 24/7 pre-alpha 5 testing ground.
Mm-hmm.
They stated that by the end of the pre-alpha 5, the game will encompass the actual feel of Pantheon and include most of its systems and a full progression path from 1 to 50.
Sure.
This quickly led to the developers publicly announcing that the whole game needed to be refactored from the ground up, and
Man. So people have had to pay for this game 3 times over.
that led to the next 3 years
they're
of monthly
remaking it
development
multiple times.
updates. However, 3 years later, today, it seems all of those efforts that they've put into those streams, rigging the characters, the concept art, the in-game locations and models, have all been completely thrown away in favor of something, well, it's basically a giant bait-and-switch scam. And that brings us cleanly to the recent exposure.
I mean, a bait and switch scam. I don't really know if it's actually like a scam in this case. I think that it's really just like you can't change the vibe of a game that much and then expect people not to be mad about it. Yeah, of course people are going to be pissed off about that. It's common sense. Yeah, bad project management, maybe, yeah.
Websites such as Massively OP and MMO Bomb and Pantheon's own subreddit have reported some interesting leaks about the current state of Pantheon.
Yeah.
Apparently, people are extremely unhappy with what's been going on behind the scenes. I'll summarize the posts, of course. I'm not going to be reading the whole thing to you guys. Come on, at this point, we all know how typical Kickstarter scams go. The post explains that Pantheon Rise of the Fallen has recently announced it's entering its 24/7 testing phase.
Okay.
This sounds rather exciting for the game.
Sure.
24/7 testing? My god, that's more real than Ashes of Creation. Get
True.
me in there. But what they didn't reveal is that the 24/7 is in fact not testing the MMO they promised, but it is instead a survival extraction mode within a similar vein of either
Oh, bro, you know that pissed off those boomers. Oh my god. They would be fucking furious about that. An extraction game, a survival game? Yeah, dude, like this is the last thing they want. Oh my god,
Tarkov
yeah, we're
or
Fortnite
Dark
now,
and
guys.
Darker. The players start in a private instance and you queue for a 1-hour survival match with your choice of either PvE or PvP. The game mode then drops the player into a random part of the zones that they've been showing off for the last 2 years, but converted to this new art style with a series of objectives to complete. This is
Yeah.
obviously a hardcore game mode, and the developers are claiming it's all for data collection and to speed up development. Surely gameplay for a timed hardcore extraction game is useful for persistent, massively multiplayer online role-playing games,
Yeah, sure.
right? However,
Of course.
this MMORPG is closing in on nearly 10 years into its development cycle. At no point did
Oh my god. 10 fucking years. $50 to play it? Yes, it's just nuts, man. Literal vaporware. Well, like, here's the thing. It's like, at least with Star Citizen, there's like an update and it's like, wow, look, we can go through the galaxy and there's no loading screens. Like, imagine, it's like after 10 years, it's like, oh, here's a really cool playable thing that you can look at. This is, after 10 years, you know? Yeah, that's the problem right there. It's like, if it looked really good, I don't think people would really complain.
anyone pledge to this game for their money to be spent on anything other than the game that they've promised.
Yeah.
The MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Many of these Kickstarter scams have tried this in the past. Camelot Unchained, Chronicles of Valeria, and even the most promising indie-developed MMORPG currently, Ashes of Creation. If anyone has any first-hand experience of these kind of spin-off testing modes, then it is most certainly me. As much as it pains me to put Ashes of Creation in this category, it is super relevant to the current situation, because Apocalypse was a colossal failure at
a lot of people were really mad about this too. Ashes of Creation did do something like this, and people got really upset about it.
earning Intrepid any sizable funding, and most certainly didn't do the game any favors for its public image. That's why it was shut down shortly after it served its purpose. APOC's primary purpose was to build the core systems around data collection, network structure, client delivery, and feedback for a possible action combat direction. And that was all collected and concluded in the first 2 years of Ashes of Creation's development cycle, and then followed up no less than 2 years later, where it was all highly utilized during the Alpha 1 period.
Well, they had the Alpha 1 period, but people said the same thing, because the Alpha 1 wasn't really, like, super good. So people shit on that, too. Absolutely.
Less than 2 years after APOC was shut down. Apocalypse was
and
not.
Yeah, somebody in chat brings up a good point. One of the main guys that was like the visionary for Pantheon, his name was Brad McQuaid. He actually died a few years ago, or like maybe 2 years ago. So like that was probably really bad for the game. Straight up. That was bad for the fucking game.
To help speed up the MMO's development, like Visionary Realms' extraction game is trying to be sold as. So how long has this game mode been in development for? Was it made within the last 3 months when they went dark? If so, then why have they spent the last 3 years showing absolutely no progress towards anything, boasting huge strides towards their now scrapped character models and content? Or is this the game that Visionary Realms have been developing for the last 3 years, meaning everything that they've been promising us throughout 2022 and 2023 was never actually coming, and they've been lying to us this whole time?
I bet they were probably just I think that the truth is that a lot of games make these development shifts, but the problem is that because this game is such a it has such an identity that's attached to it, and people fan fund it, that the fans that fund the game feel like they deserve to have the game be made in the way they want it to be made. Which is like, I can see why somebody would think that, right? And it's also, I think, just one of the uncomfortable realities of fan funding is that if you ask people for money, then people are going to think that you should take their money and do what they want you to do with it. It's just kind of common sense, right?
Now, I am by no means a person who is super invested in any of Pantheon's intricacies over the years, and I apologize if any of my information is slightly off. Hopefully, my explanations can give you guys an abridged version of the game's recent history. There are a couple of channels who genuinely care about this game, and I'll link their videos in the description if you guys want a deep dive about the community's current opinions.
Sure.
I don't think anyone denies Pantheon has been on a downward trend, stagnated on funding and progress for a very long time, and with the recent leaks, the team have been forced to reveal their plans later this month officially, so you can be sure I'm gonna...
Yeah, I'll be sure I'm gonna watch that. I just feel like Pantheon, again, there is nothing about the game that looks appealing to me. The graphics are bad, the combat is bad, the style is bad. Everything about it is bad.
Cover that. But if what this disgruntled Pantheon community is saying is actually real, I think that will spell the final end for this long, painful, and embarrassing attempt at bringing back the EverQuest style of gameplay.
Jesus,
but hey,
brutal.
at least EverQuest 3 has been announced recently, right? I'm sure you can all go and enjoy that instead, because... you're high on copium.
This is the average Pantheon enjoyer right here. Yeah, the average bro, it's gonna come out, it's gonna be so good, it's gonna be just like 1997 again. It's gonna, it's gonna completely change everything. Yeah, it's gonna kill WoW. Yeah, EverQuest is gonna be back, WoW is gonna be dead again, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, 100%, man. There's the video right there. Oh my god. I think that the people that are getting involved with this game, make sure to give it a like. Narc makes good videos about these other games too. I wish he'd do more of these. I love them. Pantheon, it just doesn't, like, there's nothing about the game, like I said, there's nothing about it that looks appealing. Nothing whatsoever. And I am amazed that so many people, like, wanted to back the game and support it. And I wish it wasn't like that. I wish it wasn't. But, like, I'm just, I guess I'm not the target audience, which is fine, right? But I think they should make Pantheon for, like, in a weird way, Pantheon should be a game. If I like Pantheon, then that's a bad thing. Because I don't like that style of game. And the style is not meant for people like me. It's meant for, you know, people 10 years older than me or 5 years older than me. It's made for an older audience that used to play those old RPGs back in the year 2000 or something like that. So it should be made for those people. So yeah,